Katie and Jason. It's been a long time, sorry about that, but we're working on our New Orleans meal, and so today we're going to do Louisiana Fried Catfish with crab meat topping, and that's from a Paul Prudhomme cookbook. But keep in mind our catfish, I mean not our catfish, but the crab meat topping. We drove all over town looking for crab meat that was not ridiculously expensive, so we ended up with a faux lobster meat, so it'll be a little bit different. And then we're going to do a Creole green beans that sounds really good. Bill's already put the Creole seasonings together. Paul Prudhomme is very good about giving us all the detail, so he's going to give you some information on what the seasonings are that we're going to use, and then after our catfish is done marinating, it's going to, once the catfish is done marinating, then we'll cook it. It's a day 1, day 2 process that I didn't realize, but we think we'll be fine if we eat it in day 1. Okay, Bill?
I'd like to point out that in sales, it's always great to point out at the beginning what you've done wrong.
Aha.
So anyway, I don't know if you're familiar
I didn't say it was wrong. I said it was a substitute.
Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with Paul Prudhomme, but he was a chef famous for his New Orleans cooking. And he weighed about 400 pounds when he passed away. And I always say, and I think it's good advice, never trust a skinny cook. Okay, I did this beforehand because it's going in both recipes. It's a Cajun spice mix. I doubled it, but this is the original recipe. A tablespoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of paprika, half teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, and basil, a teaspoon of black pepper, 3/4 of a teaspoon of oregano, and a half teaspoon of white pepper. Mixed it all up. I started out by rubbing it on both sides of the catfish as it thaws, and we'll make the marinade shortly, and then we'll get to the rest of it.
Okay, so while the catfish has been defrosting and the Creole seasonings have gone on the outside, we're going to now make a marinade that it will sit overnight in. So the marinade starts out with 1 cup of whole milk, 1 tablespoon of the Creole seasonings that Bill was talking about earlier, my favorite, Dijon mustard, a tablespoon plus a teaspoon. Dogs will get that. 1 egg. And we're going to mix that up nicely. And we're going to, you know, the whole idea of catfish soaking in buttermilk to get rid of sort of that dirty taste that catfish has, I think is what this marinade is meant to do. And so I'm going to pour this over the catfish. And we're going to let it soak overnight. And we'll see you tomorrow. This has to soak.
We're going to let it soak overnight. Hi guys. You're looking at my Creole green beans. I did this beforehand so we can illustrate the fish process to great extent. It is, they called for frozen, and in parentheses it said fresh if you had them. So we picked up some fresh green beans. I fried up a little bacon that is over to the side, which I'll add right before we eat them. Onion, garlic, Worcestershire sauce, salt, pepper, some more of that Cajun seasoning, and the secret ingredient here was a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. And I mixed those together. Basically, it's a fairly simple go-together recipe. And I've sampled them and I think they're gonna be good.
Ready?
And guys, being the music geek that I am, in the background you will be listening to the WWOZ app on my phone, which you can get if you'd like to have it. It's the music of New Orleans. It's pretty cool. Jazz sometimes, R&B a lot of the time. Those second line bands, they call them, the things that march down the street during a funeral. And it's a pretty cool app. I listen to it a lot of times in the morning when I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Now Jerry will explain.
So I'm making the Louisiana Fried Catfish. It's been marinating for a day, overnight.
Yuck, yuck.
And I took 2 tablespoons of butter and put it in the skillet, dumped the Cajun seasonings on the top, and while this melts, the Cajun seasoning and the butter melting and it kind of gets brown. This isn't blackening, but it's just a way to get the Cajun seasonings into the butter. Oh, Bill, you know what? We need flour. With this butter, then I'm going to take a half a cup of chopped green onion and a quarter of a cup of fresh parsley and a teaspoon of minced garlic, and we're going to saute this with the 3 remaining tablespoons of butter. So we have 5 tablespoons of butter altogether. Ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to fry up the catfish, and then all the goodies that are left in the pan, we're going to make a cream sauce. In addition, we've got the green beans that Bill made, and Bill has, I've been trying to get Bill to eat couscous, which is not New Orleans, I'm sorry,
Quinoa.
quinoa. I always do that. Not a New Orleans thing, Native American thing, but we've got some left over, so we're going to have that as our grain on the side. Making the sauce now. So once this butter melts, then I'm going to add our crab meat, which I've chopped up the
Crab-esque.
imitation lobster meat, but tastes pretty good. It's really smelling good. It's too bad we don't have smell-o-rama. Ophelia.
Smell-o-vision.
I went to a movie, a John Waters movie that had smell-o-vision. I'll have to tell you guys about it someday. Okay, so now that we have marinated the crab meat in with the vegetables and the spices, we're going to add whole cream, 1 cup of whole cream to create a sauce. And we're going to stir kind of gently here so we don't break up. This meat doesn't break up, so we don't have to be as tender. And now what we're going to do is wait for the cream to come to a rolling boil, which is like the ocean. And once that happens, we're going to boil for 1 minute. And when that minute's up, we're going to take this off the heat, and then we're going to start cooking the fillets. And what we're going to do with the fillets is we've taken some of the Cajun spice and added it to flour. We're going to dredge the fillets in the flour. We're going to wait till the heat, put some oil in a pan. We're going to wait until that heat is really hot, and we're going to throw a fillet on there, 3 or 4 at a time. Turn them. It doesn't take more than a few minutes on each side. The fillets aren't very thick. The oil's going to be very hot. We're going to pull those off and drain them on some paper towels, and our dinner should be ready. We will have this delicious sauce that goes on top with the fillets and the green beans. So we're going to take a break here for a second, and we're going to come back and show you the fillets frying. Okay, so we've already fried up a couple of the fillets. You want to make sure the oil is really hot. Depending upon the thickness of your fish, you're going to cook it anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. You know, 4 on one side, 4 on the other kind of thing. We have one that's pretty thick, cooked a little bit longer. The way that you dredge this in the flour, it's not sticking. The coating isn't sticking super well. It's hanging in there, but pieces are kind of coming off. So I've been doing about 4 minutes on each side. Seems to be working. And then the quinoa's out of the oven, and we'll just heat up the sauce and we'll plate it, and we'll be back. Okay.
We have our catfish with the crab meat topping. This is quinoa. I made it a couple nights ago, and it came out good, and I made a lot. That's really good. In fact, Jerry, there's only 5 pieces of catfish. What are you having? Let me try my Creole green beans. Those are really good. Those are a tiny bit spicier than I expected. And the only spice of any consequence, heat-wise, is black pepper and white pepper.
What is it you like about the flavor on the catfish?
That should be good. It's really good.
Okay, well, say bye-bye so we can eat.
I would recommend this.
We'll post the recipe underneath the video on YouTube when we do this, Katie and Jason. Bye. We love you guys.